This is the Rally Point podcast dedicated to Squad, where we break down tactics, history, and the best Battlefield stories. I'm UrsoDoSono, and joining me today is Slay3k. Slay, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
Honestly, we had a bit of a dodgy, personally, I had a bit of a dodgy last 2 weeks, given everything that's happened between all of the different realms of my life. But thankfully, things are mellowing out, and I'm feeling much better. So how you doing?
Same thing. Same
Yeah?
thing. It's chilling out a little bit, thankfully. If I can make it through last week, I can make it through pretty much anything.
I have that same sentiment. It was like Monday, I felt like the world was literally burning to the ground. And then by Thursday, it felt like everything was suddenly kind of being okay again. And then I ended the week with Friday night fights. And honestly, that was the most fun I've had with Squad in years. So amen to that, man. Dude. So first off, I want to dive right in. Where do you get your name Slay3k? Can you tell, like, you told me a little bit about it.
So Slay3k is the basis for it, which came from Slayer 3000. So when I started playing video games, I think the first online game was 2000 something, 2002, 2004. I don't know when it was, but it was like a demo for a game, and I thought I want to be like Slayer, like something cool. No affiliation or understanding of the band Slayer, so it has no ties to that, which some people tend to think it does. And then it went to the 3000 came out of, well, Slayer was taken, and I thought, like, how cool it would be to get like 3000 kills on a game or something stupid. You know what I mean? It was just dumb.
Just for the audience, how old were you when you did this?
Oh, I don't want to date myself too hard here. That would have been...
Well, we don't know how long that it was ago. You could just say your age, you know.
Well, I mean, it was like 2002, 2004. So I guess I was in end of middle school. Yeah, I think it was about end of middle school. So like 8th grade, 7th grade.
Oh, so you're like right in the ballpark of where Geeky Panda is.
Yeah, I'm 37 now, fortunately or unfortunately. So yeah, I would have graduated like middle school in like 2006. No, that's not right. When did I graduate? 2002. So yeah, I was right around then. Too damn long ago. Yeah.
So hey, you know what? It's fair. It's fair when you have that like kind of a crazy backstory. I'll be honest. I've had multiple gamer names, and I settled on UrsoDoSono at like when I was like 15, 16 years old. So I get to hide.
You totally different.
Yeah, you call me. People call me Urso. People call me like all sorts of stuff. Dunzo. Or the one I really like that people do are UrsoDoSono. And I'm like, bro, where the hell? Like, I see that. I see what you're getting there. But also, it's capitalized specifically to tell you they are words. It's a Portuguese. I get. Oh my gosh! Every time I stream, I get some Brazilian. Not that it's a bad thing. I get people from Brazil coming into my stream, and they're like, Are you Portuguese? Are you from Brazil? And I'm like, bro, I don't speak Portuguese. I'm Portuguese by heritage, and it's a very big point of pride for me. And otherwise, no. So they'll even come to my chat and like start speaking Portuguese to me. And I've gotten good enough at recognizing what is Portuguese because of how many people will come into my chat or even find me in game and talk to me about it. It's like every stream.
That's cool.
Yeah, because there's a big Brazilian population in Squad that play. I have never played the mod, but they really like a particular mod. And I think when they see me stream and they see my name, they're like, "Oh, I want to tune in." We don't have any Brazilian or Portuguese streamers. Like, I want to watch, and then I ruin it for them. So I feel bad, but mine is a goofy founding. The Slayer 3000 came from that, and then that was my like PlayStation and. All those years was under that. And then I guess I got to streaming and it was slightly different because Slay 3000 was taken. And then this was like Slayer 3K. And then I shortened it to Slay3k. And then the Kilo was just like, I already had a kind of a foundation of like City Skylines content on YouTube and stuff like that under Slay3k. So the Kilo just made kind of sense from like the military sort of like abbreviations and stuff like that. Plus it's a kilo, so 1,000. So you have 3,000. So it somehow magically worked out. From my perspective, it seems planned, but after hearing the story, it was a happy accident, is what I'm kind of figuring out. Yeah,
100%. Because I was like, what do I name this channel? And I started going through stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, that actually kind of makes sense in a funny way. So,
it does. It works. It works. I love it. So like, then walk me through how you got into Squad, because it sounds like you started on console a little bit. How did you make that transition to PC? And did you play with Project Reality, or did you come into the game really late?
No. So I played Battlefield 1942. So this again goes back to like what 2004-ish in that realm. And I got really into Battlefield 1942. I had a Dell XPS that would have been like on the wall behind me actually for a while, right? So I was playing like Sim City and Battlefield 1942, the original Battlefield.
I have one
And
question.
go ahead. Yeah.
Were you using the trackpad or did you have a mouse?
I had a mouse.
Oh, see,
no, it was a tower. It was a full-on tower.
Oh, you had a tower? Dude, I
played
Battlefield 2 back when Battlefield 2 was still a thing.
Okay,
on a laptop that had a trackpad, and I played it with a trackpad. I'm not shitting you. I played Battlefield 2 Wake Island with a trackpad, and it was actually pretty good. It was crazy.
Okay. Yeah, I know someone that did trackpad. Shout out Mars. She did trackpad for Rocket League. That's how she learned how to play Rocket League,
which is like mad impressive. But you like like if you've had to journey into like figuring out how to use a trackpad for gaming, like once you do it, it kind of like you figure it out. You're like, this actually isn't that bad. It's kind of shitty, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so I did Battlefield 1942. That's the original Battlefield, and then Battlefield 2 came out when I was like probably at the peak of how I was playing in Battlefield 42. And I did like a little bit of competitive like ladder stuff and whatnot in Battlefield 42. Battlefield 2 came out, we did the same thing. And then fast forward, like I went to school, college, I was away, and I did not like take my PC with me initially. So it sort of broke up my gaming career, I guess.
You took a break. You went on break with your
kind of. I went to console.
Oh shit, you cheated? Damn.
Yeah, I mean, so I went to console from, I guess, 2006, 2007, something like that for years. And I didn't get another PC until like 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's when, or I guess it was actually 2018, I got a PC. And that was after I'd started streaming because I initially was streaming on Twitch using my PlayStation 4.
That's why.
And I had it hooked up to a Mac to stream with like an overlay. Dude, it was complicated. Okay, it was complicated.
So everything makes sense to me because you're one of the few people that is a squad streamer that uses a dual PC setup for streaming, and I've picked your brain about that. But after hearing your story with streaming on PlayStation through a Mac, it makes complete sense why you would go to that, and that would feel natural to you because that would never feel natural to me.
I guess I got a PC. I was streaming on like one station for a while. And that PC is now the stream PC, obviously. Like it just shifted around and I bought a new PC for the gaming PC that has like higher specs. But that transition was like, I was playing like Doom or something like that on stream and it was just killing my CPU at the time. And because it was like, I'm streaming and playing this game simultaneously, same station. It's just not. And I didn't like that experience for the viewer, or I couldn't record content out of it anyway. Even if I wanted to. So it's just like, all right, that's when I went to the 2 PC setup and it basically future-proofed me. So now it's like all that legwork of like streaming is designated to a PC that like it has plenty of stats for that. Like it's fine in terms of specs.
Well, I assume when you upgrade your current PC, it just kind of filters everything back down.
Yeah, basically.
PC. Yeah.
And that's, I've upgraded the RAM in it and the stream PC. It's got a 3060 in it now that I use as like a backup in case, because I had like my 3090 one at one time. So I went and got a 3060 and then that one replaced a 1080. So it's like, it's all balanced out now. And, for Friday Night Fights, I streamed in 1080, 60 frames and recorded a separate like.
You recording and streaming at the same time?
Yeah. So it's like, nice. and that was, so the recording is done on the PC that I'm gaming on, right? So that's isolated, but I have like separate audio tracks. So I can completely strip the broadcast audio basically from that and just have the game audio and remove my voice and redo all the voiceover. So it's like really cool how this has been able to work out, but I've kind of future-proofed myself a little bit.
See, I feel like you and I are starting to get this taste for broadcasting events and we are fucking loving it.
It's fun.
I did my first one, the Here Come the Girls event, which I got. I just you saw that they posted it in Discord to the partners, and nobody really jumped on it. And by the time I saw it hours later, nobody had said anything. I was like, hell yeah, I'll do it. This sounds like fun. I didn't have any details. They just said we need a partner for something, and that was it. And I was like, I'm like, hell. They're like, we need a partner for a charity event. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm in. I got time. And then I did that event and I'm like, oh, I had so much fun. I went, I had I used to have the Stream Deck that only has 6 buttons. And after that event, I went to the big puppy.
That's the big one? Yeah, I got the big one.
Yeah. I went to that one and I'm like, now I know when I do if I do a big event, I can go anything and everything. You even get to go one step further with the stream PC, and I'm a little jealous of that. But like, wow, is it so much better to have a giant stream deck
It is.
when you're putting on a production at scale?
Yeah, I mean, doing like the charity streams I've done in the past, that having enough cameras to be able to switch between stuff, dude, or sorry, buttons to switch between stuff, because I might have 4 guests on with me, so I'd have like a different intro than my normal intro, like, and then I would have just me IRL like this kind of setup, and then I'd have like another one with everybody, and then the game scene, like it just becomes
Oh,
overwhelming. So just
it's
having some buttons is fantastic.
and then you got to have pause and start for music. You've got to be able to skip
Yep.
music. You got to be able to turn music up, down. You got to be able to mute your audio. Like the buttons just keep adding up and adding up. And I was like, I gotta go full big boy and get the big guy.
But the casting thing is interesting because I remember when I started playing Squad, which was like 2019, like I didn't play Project Reality because I missed that whole thing. So a buddy of mine was like, "You need to play Squad." So I started playing Squad, and then kind of dropped it for a little bit. I didn't play for like
You
9
started in
months to a
16
year.
in 2016.
19, I think. 19 or
19.
20. Might have been 20.
I see I've had 3 cycles of Squad right when it first
Yeah.
hit and closed alpha. I was one of the few people that downloaded it off the sketchy website before it hit Steam.
Mhm.
And then my second iteration with Squad was 2017 through 2021. And there was 2 big sessions in that. I took a little bit of a break in between, but I kind of lump it together. And then the current one that I'm currently doing, which is my biggest comeback to Squad, because I started doing content creation. Like I've been playing and in the sphere for years. I know a lot of people for a very, very long time. And now that they know me as not the content creator, but now they're starting to see me as that person. So
Yeah.
you started in 2019, dropped it. What made you come back?
I think I can't remember if it was 19. It might have been 20 that I picked it up. Just off a whim, someone said, "Hey, you played this game." Started playing, bounced around in a couple servers, had fun with it, enjoyed it. And I don't know what happened other than I just got distracted in other games and just dropped it. And I dropped it for 9 months to a year. And I just gotten like a couple people into the game, and they were like, "Where did you go?" But I was just playing other stuff, and then after that, I picked it up one day because I was like, "Man, miss playing it." And largely my passion for Squad comes from playing Battlefield. That's like it's the closest game I've had that reminds me of old school Battlefield. Battlefield 1942, Battlefield 2, even Battlefield Vietnam, which was a mess, but still a lot of fun. But yeah, I and then so I guess it was like 2022 until now is kind of the more consistent like phase that I've been in with Squad.
So you started content creation with Squad about a year before me, because I started about 2023.
Yeah, I started uploading some videos on TikTok, which I guess was happening in 2022. So I've been posting videos. Oh gosh, I should have looked up all the dates. I think I've been on YouTube posting like long form content for like almost 2 years now, I think.
So
Year and a half, something like that.
You got back into Squad in about 2022, started making content, started working in as a squad leader. Can you talk about your path on like becoming a squad leader, going into the comp space, kind of filling who is Slay3k today?
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I guess I've only been posting long form for like a little over a year. I don't know. It's so it all blends together because I started on TikTok posting just clips, and then I went to more long form content on YouTube after posting shorts, and I saw that there was a market for it. But the squad leader side of things, I just never played in a squad. I just wanted to play squad leader, so I just skipped a step. I didn't really learn a lot about a lot of kits until later. Like I knew what they were, I knew what they were capable of, but I enjoy the sort of, I guess, chess match at times that you get to do.
Yep.
I also enjoyed commanding for a while. I sometimes take breaks from that because I got to the point where I was getting like way too like nitty gritty into it.
As a lot of us squad leaders and commanders do, we beat ourselves up because you can look at the map. You could send me a picture of a map and say, "Urso, tell me what's wrong with this," and I can tell you. It's like spot the difference or spot the problem. I can immediately spot the problem because it's just I have a different experience from you. I played Project Reality back in 2013, and I was a squeaker and playing old school Project Reality. And you have to remember, these were the Modern Warfare 2 lobby days. People were not nice to each other on the internet. And being a squeaker, and pushing from squeaker to squad leading as like a squeaker. I was squad leading at like 14, 15 years old.
Yep.
I mean, I don't remember as much now, but I just know that, holy cow, that was insane. But I had the same thing to you. I liked the chess match part of it, and I wanted to be more involved in that rather than just being a boot on the ground pushing objectives or doing what my squad leader told me to do. I wanted to play the chess game that I saw every squad leader playing, because in Project Reality, it was a small community that knew exactly how to play the game, and they all played the game correctly. And I wanted to be a part of that because it looked so interesting. So it kind of seems like you had that same experience, but just years later and in squad. So that makes me happy.
My Battlefield thing was I ran infantry, and I was I competed in stuff like 5v5s and larger format with like combined arms, but we did 5v5 infantry stuff. So there was ladder matches that we played in, and that was like my bread and butter. And I felt like I became a pretty solid player. So I've always leaned infantry with dabbling in tanks and stuff like that. But I didn't have, at the time, I didn't understand the granular sort of strategy behind stuff. Like, it just seemed like I just need to go and, all gas and just see what happens. And now you fast forward to now, and I
1 second. Are you saying maybe your thought process was all gas, no brakes? Because that was a legitimate strategy in your Friday night fights. Because I heard about you saying it. I was the commander on that team, and I was like, guys, I don't want to command, but you told me I have to command. I don't really want to lead this. I'm just here for the assets. And then the Green Mountain Gaming's like, our strategy, all gas, no brakes. We're just all balls to the wall. If it falls apart, we'll get out of Narva faster. And if it works well, we'll get out of Narva faster. And we're all like, we all agree that this is a good idea, right? And then anytime anybody would come over command chat and be like, oh, did you think about putting a hab here? We'd be like, sir, that sounds like strategy. This is all gas, no brakes. We don't do strategy here. Are you pushing the objective? No,
you're playing as RGF, right?
What? Yes. This is the RGF.
Yeah.
And
old hospital. Yeah.
Oh god, it was so like it was the game that we all kind of agreed on command chat that we needed to take a break because we were on it for so long that we had to we needed a break game to ease the mental, because playing squad at that high of a competition, that was like game 4 in the game 4 area, because I think it was the first game you came back to commentating on our team, so it might have been, I don't know. All I know is I loved that strategy. And I actually do want to ask you a question, because I did pause your topic, but I think this question will get you back on top. So I actually really wanted to kind of pick at your leadership philosophy, because we both kind of see it as a chess game, but I guarantee I have a different leadership philosophy than you, because we're individual people and we take different experiences in with us. So I kind of want to learn from you. What do you carry in as a squad leader? Both with the people you trust and know, and with blueberries, because those are different philosophies.
I think the philosophy stays largely the same. It's just like, do I have to reset my expectations based on, if I'm playing with a lot of the folks that have hours and hours of experience with me, like I don't feel like I have to worry or do as much. I've also altered how I play SL to some extent, for better or worse. I think I've over the last, let's say, 6 months or something like that, I've really started to look at how I play SL and try to find better ways of playing it that are better at putting other people in positions than myself. I used to be someone, I think, that led too much by like, I'm the tip of the spear, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be like the 3rd or 4th guy in the fight, maybe later if I can be that. So I really try to look at positioning more now, which requires me to sit back and like try to, have Bravo and Charlie do certain things. And before, it was like, I went through a phase where Bravo and Charlie were just kind of like arbitrarily like, these are the guys, because I knew the Charlie leader had a microphone. I knew the Bravo leader can mark stuff, basic stuff. And then now it's evolved into like, I'm looking at kits and trying to understand who needs this as like that person needs it as a priority. Right. And then, and that's just like the evolution of like hours and understanding the game. So we're talking over years of time, like how that continues to evolve. And then now I look at it from, I'm making Bravo into like they have a duty typically, or they have some sort of assignment that I want them to accomplish, whether this is going to lean a little more AT and this group's going to lean a little more infantry, like fire support, whatever it is. So now especially when I'm playing with a group of guys that I know, I can tend to set up Bravo and Charlie. I kind of like balance fire teams if I can get them, just as a preference, so that I can try to guide them into a position of like, you're going to attack from the east and you're going to attack from the west. Simple stuff, like just how I want them to push stuff. And then that sometimes will help too, because if I have a FTL that has like a lot of experience with me, they might have a guy in there that has a little bit less experience, and they can kind of like bring them along and get it, in terms of how I want to operate. But I like to operate with like a decent amount of speed. I like to still be frontline or backline, kind of like flank side. I don't want to be, I don't play as well just like taking the brunt of stuff if I can maneuver. I like to have that freedom. So you'll typically see me with a vehicle, something with like an exit strategy if we need to, move, replace rally. I play a lot off rally.
I've
I'll do the
noticed that
hab
a
stuff,
lot.
but
A lot
yeah.
of like or not old school, but what I would consider high level squad leaders play
Mm.
off rally, and it's always been that way. Habs have
Yeah.
always been kind of a secondary spawn point. I would even argue like tertiary to main. Because if I
Yeah.
see a hab and it's not placed in the right place, I'd rather just go back to main, grab a vehicle, and place a rally in a better spot. So
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen that mentality very commonly with the expert squad leaders, and I think it works extremely successful, and that's why we do it. And it's a low cost,
Mhm.
high payoff spawn point. No, you're not losing tickets. You're just losing 50
Yep.
ammo.
It gives
I
you it gives you a lot of flexibility because I can replace that multiple times. I can keep moving it, and then I'm probably pulling a squad, maybe two squads attention in my direction. So if you're coming in with the hab or someone else coming in with the hab, I'm trying to just buy them time and keep them from taking the brunt. Like that's the chess match I enjoy, is like, how do I make people check a different direction that they're not expecting? And sometimes it works out, often doesn't. But that's, I don't know. I guess to some extent that's how I try to lead my squads, is like very sort of, I'm trying to learn to be more granular about positioning and understanding how to move my groups around in 2 to 3 units of people. And yeah, rally play is pretty critical to that. I also think that when you play off rally, people begin to value their life a lot more because of the respawn slowdown, instead of just like, oh, give up, go respawn. And that forces everybody in the group to be like, okay, we got to communicate with the medic. We got to work with the medic. Can't die in this open field. That's dumb. Like we got to stay in the tree line, stuff like that.
No, I agree with you, and I kind of had the same philosophy in leadership, and I changed mine, but I think I changed mine for a slightly different reason. I changed my leadership philosophy to being more of the commander role, where I
Hmm.
am sitting back and just observing fires and putting out fires. But it's a very interesting play style, because you have to walk the fine line of not micromanaging people, but
Yeah.
spotting big problems that will, you have to spot small problems that will become big problems in the long run, and how to gently guide people to fix those small problems. And I've really pushed myself into that realm as a leader, because of how I've noticed there's a huge gap between incoming new squad leaders and experienced squad leaders. You're either top of the game, you know exactly what you're doing, or you are brand new, fresh off the
Right.
checkout screen. And realistically, back in like my second iteration of a squad, that 2017 to 2021 era, KOF played in some events, and we were a much different group back then, because the squad was also in a much different place, because more commonly people knew what they were doing. So
Mhm.
KOF was always the tip of the spear, and I was the tip of the tip, because my philosophy was, I trust my guys. I'm
Yeah.
going to I'm going to set the tempo, because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know if I set the tempo, I can dictate how this game's going to come out. And that's back when KOF had a bit of a reputation of being some nasty MFers, because we set the tempo. We played in
Yeah.
some events, and we absolutely dominated in the events that we were in. And unfortunately, that group dissolved. And we're here today, and my leadership style has changed. We're gonna change gears just
Mhm.
slightly. I wanted to talk about Comp Squad, but I think I'm gonna leave that for maybe another podcast for us to do in the
Okay.
future, because I feel like that's a big topic for you. I kind of want to rotate into something fun, and then I'm
Mhm.
gonna challenge you to be asking me some questions, and we'll get into some cool stuff, because
Okay.
we're
Okay.
gonna expand past squad. So I was in the shower earlier today eating my sandwich, and I thought of this
Okay.
question, and I need you to answer it for me.
Okay.
How many non-ICO blueberries do you think Team Impulse at max players can take in a game? Granted, you can have more than 50 that you can take against. but that's all of Team Impulse. So you have to quantify how many Team Impulse, and they have ICO against Blueberries just fresh off the checkout page without ICO. How many you think you can take?
Oh,
you think
Lord.
you can? And this is in terms of a game. You have to win.
Blueberries, I don't know. If we're sharp, man, we can make it painful. I have some very
and this is a one life. I think should be a one life. So how many?
We got medics. Dude.
How many? Because Team Impulse has got to be on their shit, man. And it's pre-ICO. There ain't that suppression. It ain't like it is today.
Low, I'm gonna catch flack for it.
I knew this was a good question. That's why I wanted to ask you it.
I mean, I feel like our group, like if we're playing at our top, notch. I mean, there are tiers to comp. You know what I mean? There are tiers to comp. So like I know there are some folks out there, especially with some of those teams that are up in the top hemisphere that are like, geez, just their map awareness and how they move together, and that's a really tough thing to teach and develop. It takes a lot of time, and you know that with KOF, like getting guys to have that glue, not just like, hey, I'm over here, but like, how do we stay in 200 meters so that if you get shot, I'm with you and I'm killing the guy that shot you and then getting you back up,
And the other thing is
so much time.
The other thing is the teams knowing, like, there are members of my team that have played long enough that they know exactly what I'm thinking. At any given point, I could be like, Ducky, what is going through my head right now? And he will be able to tell me exactly what I'm thinking because he's played with me and we have talked so long about game strategy and game theory and how games develop. And we've had these discussions and I've kind of showed him the light on that. And at any given time, he's like, I know exactly what he's thinking. He knows exactly what I'm thinking to the point where he will
so long.
But he will even come out and say, Urso, you're going to do this. Don't do that because look at this. And I'm like, fucking A, Ducky, thank you. Because that's a much better fucking choice. And you knew what I was going to do and you saw that I was not the best choice. But that's what you need. That separates. So you've been delaying. I think they can go at least 1 for 1. So how many Team Impulse are there? Like
I'm thinking 2 times at least. So if it's 9 man, they can easily we can take
so
18.
You could say you don't need to give like an exact number of how many people that you have in Team Impulse, but like you think double to more they can replace.
I mean we have it's our roster currently active is about 35. And we have
so you're
people,
thinking 70 to 90
potentially, yeah. If everybody's playing, I would say that we could do some work.
Yeah,
we'd have some fun.
I'd love to watch that, by the way. That'd be a fantastic event. I would pay money to watch that because it would be so fun.
If it's new Blueberries coming in, dude, like I think, and we had a minute to strategize. Yeah, it would be a good time.
Oh, that'd be even better. Like not even give you the map. Just say, all right, we're doing Belaya TC, and you're like, oh fuck, we didn't even know TC, and then Belaya. Shit, have you seen TC Belaya? Because it's fucking nuts. Yeah, TC Belaya is fun. Oh, I would love to see that game. It would be so fun. It would be so entertaining. So
there's some dudes in our group. Like again, there's tiers to it, right? So there's going to be some groups that probably would smash us, but I feel like we have a good group of guys that have a lot of playtime together, and that adds up. It's like you said, I got a couple dudes that I'll put down something like a rally and I turn around and they're driving up the vehicle behind me. They already know what we're doing. They know where I'm placing the rally. They know where we want to go. They know what we want to do. And like when you get in like, especially competitive environment scrims or whatever, or just Friday night fights, it's like that translates so well to speed and stuff like that, which is going to offset.
It's not just speed.
Groups.
It's power potential. It's speed and power potential. Like you can be faster and you can exercise more power because you're staying closer knit as a group. And that's exactly what Friday Night Fights was. We were talking in my small group. I only had a squad of about 5 the entire night. The conversation for the first game was, how many hours do you think the server has cumulatively? And it was well over 100,000 hours. There's no doubt in my mind that server, because there's 100 players. I guarantee more often than not, those players have more than 1,000 hours. I myself have over 2,000 hours. I know people that have 4,000 hours. I'm easy saying Friday Night Fights had at least a cumulative of 100,000 hours of playtime.
It was cool because there were groups that came to that I'm not as familiar with, like Squad Quebec. They reached out because they saw the
SQC?
SQC, yeah. They came out.
A Spanish group.
No, I think that's Squad Quebec, and there's a couple other groups that I was less familiar with, but it was cool to see them come out. RTB was one that I'm not as familiar with, and obviously KOF, TWS, EP, like we're familiar with them. GMG was there, unnamed, like plenty. And I'm gonna leave people off, so forgive me. But it was interesting to see, because no matter what, you're gonna have a skill gap. You know, even within EP, you're gonna have a skill gap. People have less experience in the game in terms of hours, or people just have less experience with the team in terms of hours. So, and that's two different like categories of things that you have to develop. But what was kind of cool to watch Friday Night Fights from my perspective is it's like you could see situations where there was like, we are going to do something that feels pretty sweaty, pretty competitive in a way, whether it's a backline or a rush or something like that. Not a crazy tactic. It's, you know, we know these things exist. And then to see if the other team knew how to get around that, right? And that's often the challenge, because I don't want every round to be balanced. I want to give you, it's like, to your point, you got 100,000 hours on the server. It's like, you're gonna have to figure out how to do what do you do with a BMP against a bunch of like lavs? Like, you're gonna have to figure that out.
Well, it's just that it's not just that, it's the how do you do that when everybody also knows exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that comes down to like that hard you game. I created my squad. I came over command chat and I said, I will be back capping. I am anticipating getting rushed because I knew we had been getting rushed every single game all night long. I wasn't always on the back cap, but I every time I saw us getting rushed, and every time we overcame because we knew we were getting rushed. It was nothing new. We knew it was going to happen. So we went into that hard you game, and I told my squad, I was like, you better be ready to get rushed because we're going to get rushed. And then we rolled into the point, and I was like, just a reminder, we're going to get rushed. And that's when I heard the MRAPs coming. And I was like,
yep.
Remember when
I was, and an open top.
And I said, remember when we're going to get rushed? That's them, because there ain't a fucking friendly anywhere near us right now.
I was on admin cam watching because you had one guy left because they dropped infantry.
Did you see where I was? Did you see where I was? I had the dirtiest angle in game. I'll have to send you my POV from that.
Yeah, you'll have to send to me.
I was on, you know how they have like the big wire rolls? Mm-hmm. They have those, and they were stacked too high. And I got up onto the second one, and it looked right into the doorway they came in. And they like I was like 12 foot in the air, and they were walking in looking to their left, and I was 12 foot above them, and they didn't even see me, and I killed like 4 before they finally saw me.
Yeah.
But I was like I knew it was happening. I was like, the best I can, I have to protect myself. I have nowhere to hide. This is my hiding spot. Like we heard the MRAPs coming, scatter. And that's where I scattered to. And one of our guys thankfully scattered to
on the back of a trailer.
One of the greatest hiding spots I've ever seen in my life. Oh my! I was like command chat. I was like command chat at the end of the game was that game we rolled them only because that guy capped that point. If he did not capture that point, it would have been the reverse. I truly believe that.
I don't disagree with that, but I would say that there was one other thing that you guys did that I don't think you were aware of happening as it was happening, and that is that. So you guys capped that point. That was clutch. They also put guys on the second objective early, so you had 2 rushes to deal with. You were able to sneak cap the first one, so that's check mark, right? But that kind of balances out in the fact that now they're playing from behind, but they're also capping, so there's some balance there. But then they had guys on the second cap that got squashed pretty quick, because I think that's where you had your armor support, if I remember correctly. Then I think you had a TWS group actually on mid cap setting up a fob shortly thereafter, right?
We played a very traditional rollout. We played a very safe traditional rollout. And it wasn't anticipated. It's just what happened. We played we want to establish middle of the map pressure and control, but we know we're going to be weak on the backline. So the backline needs to know to be safe, super, super safe. And it was like when you play, I think when you play at that high a level, there's a lot of things that go unsaid. And I think that's one of the things that went unsaid that we all kind of like, it was what happened. We had phenomenal pressure in the center. Like you said, we got lucky and capped up to it. And then I think at that point, there was nothing. I think at that point, I truly believe they were so far behind that they couldn't catch up.
What locked it down, though, and the thing that, again, I don't think you guys realized, because I don't remember a call out, is both of their lodges were stranded. They couldn't even defend. They couldn't defend their last objective even if they wanted to. They couldn't set up a fob. They were both mid-map.
Was one of the lodges stranded on the hab that was on military apartments on the airfield?
Yep, that was one. The other one was on the hangar in the middle.
Oh, okay. Because I told my guys, they kept coming over command chat, and they're like, we're not capping very fast. We need more bodies on point. Why are we leaving? And I'm like, they have a radio and a hab on the outskirt of this objective. I don't give a shit about the objective right now. I care about that hab and spawn point, because even if we cap that point and we let them establish a foothold at that hab again, we now are fighting over that, and we now have to push. That's a pressure point. Yeah. If I can eliminate that pressure point, doesn't matter if we're capping slower, we're still going to power right through them. We're being safe and methodical rather than like reactionary, and I think that was good.
Yeah, the pace was impressive, and by the time they were applying pressure from behind, I thought they were actually going to catch up to you guys from behind because they were getting close, and then you were able to stall it. But I realized about when you guys had started capping and they tried to do a last ditch fob on military apartments to the south, that was the second logi, and it just never left. So when you guys were already on truck and building a fob, they had no way to build a fob because their first logi was just sitting in the middle of the map.
We didn't know that. We did not call. That was one thing we did not call out any logis. I think that in the entire night, I think I killed one logi in the beginning, and I was gonna call it out, but I looked and they had 3 tracked logis, and I was like, I killed one. We're not the fucking track logi. It's okay. I'm not gonna call it out, but we really should have been tracking that, because for how many experienced players were there, oh my gosh! Even my guys were looking at the map, and you could just see everybody was doing exactly what they should be doing, which was playing within the objectives.
Down and did. Yep. Because I said before the match, I said if you own the hill to the north of the airfield, you can do a lot. Like you can apply a lot of pressure. It's difficult, but that is ultimately where you can kind of rat out and like slow down their vehicles, slow down a lot of their transportation, and slowly eat away. And that's kind of what I figured was going to happen, is someone was going to own that top half. And then you guys kind of went down center lane. They applied a pretty strong rush. You guys also did some, attack or like forward, I think, to military apartments early to get a foothold. But I like those kind of layers. Obviously it's AAS. So it's, you got your strategy. There it is. Like figure it out quickly, in that 3-minute staging phase. But I like that because you saw 2 different ways of handling it play out amongst, experienced players. And that was a lot of fun.
No, honestly, the entire night was a blast. I think the only game my team lost was the Belaya game, and we lost it at staging phase when we planned. I called on command chat that my squad of 5 was rushing train depot, and that wasn't a very good rush because A, we had tracks, we were going to be late, and B, we were going to be late in 5 people. So that's the worst of the worst. And our entire team was guessing that it was going to go center because mathematically, if it's truly random, it would be more likely to go. But I have a feeling you planned it to go to train. Was that specific? Did you?
No, that was random.
Really? Because it felt intentional. Because as soon as train popped, I was like, we're fucked. We're not going to win this game.
I don't know if there's a way that I can cue that to be like not random. Belaya, I don't think gets played enough in like pubs. It doesn't get voted on a ton. So I wanted it in the rotation. Same with Lashkar. Yeah, I think it's a fun one.
Yes, I love Lashkar. I love Lashkar.
Yeah, I was hoping it would go Nicola in the middle.
We would have
to be like a really good brawl in the middle and have some flank opportunities. Because what I know is train tunnel turns into a brawl, and you whoever owns it is going to own it, and it's hard to take away. You can take it away, and you guys got really close because you guys were pushing on 2 sides, and you kind of fishbowled it.
I blame my team. I was stacking bodies on that point. I think I killed like 6 dudes, and I look behind me, and my whole team's dead. And I was like, we have to plug the holes. We need to push the tunnels to plug the holes. Otherwise, we're going to let them get in, and then we're screwed. So you have to plug the holes on train tunnel outside before they let in. So I was holding one of the exits, and they were funneling in this tunnel. I was just laying them out. And then I look behind me, and my whole team's dead, and they're pushing me hard on this tunnel. And I'm like, I'm gonna get flanked from behind. I need to fall back. I fall back, 1 dude alive, and it's the marksman. And I'm like, I'm fucked. Marksman dies immediately. I'm left. I see like 7 dudes rushing in. I'm like, it was good footage. But I want to shift gears outside of squad. I want to start talking.
Wait, I want to ask one question about Friday Night Fights.
Yeah, of course.
If you could take something away from it, what did you learn, or did you learn anything, or did you see something that like, I don't know, stood out to you?
I will tell you that you saved a lot of people that night in terms of their relationship with squad. You were the DJ. Oh, isn't there a song about a DJ playing a song and 2 people falling? I feel like there's some fucking.
Oh, there's got to be.
There's got to be a pop song about you were the DJ playing a song that made people fall back in love with squad, because we all got to play squad the way we like to play squad, which is the way it's intended to be played, which is with teamwork and deciding things as a team. Because when we like, I can't speak for the other command chat. All I can speak for is the command chat I was a part of. I'd almost needed to never participate in command chat because someone was already saying it, or we already had put that fire out. There's no point. Like, I almost didn't even have to do any. Truly, that first match on Lashgar, we didn't even really do anything as KOF. We held a hillside in this like weird limbo between skirting them, just attacking off the point, and being able to fall back into the point while being on a mountainside to cover the valley. We were in this like really weird location, but I felt like we were in a good spot to be able to, we were only 5 people, so we couldn't get a lot of pressure on the offense. We couldn't we couldn't be the only people on defense because we were only 5. We had phenomenal pressure with armor. We had a 1 squad of 9 filter in and hold the defense. And I came over command chat and was like, hey, anything goes wrong, please give me a call in command chat. And I'm falling back immediately. And the thing is like when you can play squad at that level, it's a treat. And that's not what you get in public games. And that is my main takeaway from Friday Night Fights. And that's why I was like, Slay, we doing this every week? Because I want to do this every week. And I know it's a lot of work, but I'm like, fucking A, I want more because it establishes, and it's even a great teaching tool because players can see this is a public match. I knew some of those people on command chat. A lot of them I didn't know. But what was understood is most of the people in command chat all respected each other, all knew what they were doing, and there was a level of teamwork that is not normally exercised anywhere else. And that right there is my biggest takeaway, and that was so wonderful to be able to be a part of, and that should be the biggest win for you. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, we wanted to make a mixer for some of the NA groups. Obviously, anybody was able to participate, but we knew the time zone, right? It was favored NA, and it was cool to see as many people that came out from communities and teams and stuff like that. And I wanted to make an environment where it was like it was elevated gameplay to some extent. Like obviously skill gaps exist. You're going to have some guys that have a lot more experience that are be like, dude, come on, do it. No, but ultimately, like I got to watch like some fun armor stuff, I got to watch some really good infantry positioning and attacks. I mean, there were moments where I'm like waiting for something to happen and I turn the camera and I'm like, oh, they're doing it. Like, so you could see that it wasn't 2 or 3 squads total across both teams playing at a higher level, but it was like almost every squad trying to play at a higher level and then adapting too if they were lower hours, like where do I need to be, or working with each other. And I was like, that's what we need. And then I can help educate, by making videos out of it or broadcasting it.
Well, even that is a wonderful opportunity. I've been around long enough and I've played in comp matches as a sub, or you guys call them mercs. I know what it's like to operate at that high level, but you have to, like a lot of public players, they go play a new player. Like my guys, they play mainly on new player friendly servers, and they get pissed off when they get rushed, rightfully so, because it's much different. It's okay when you get rushed when you have a team that knows what they're doing, but when you get rushed and your team doesn't know what they're doing, your game's over. Your game's over because you're probably going to lose a full squad on the defense. They probably rolled in a lav, and your armor's not going to want to respond. You have to somehow get their lav off that objective before you can cap it. It turns into a massive nightmare. So it was nice for me to be able to take the players that had no experience with like that high a level and have a very like gentle approach to it. Yeah. It wasn't like they were all alone and nobody around them knew what they were doing and they were just constantly dying on repeat. It was like they knew they were playing against really good players and they came in with a different mentality, and I think they learned how to play the game kind of the way it's meant to be played, and they were able to see how like a team's supposed to work together. So I really want to go back and watch. I'm secretly waiting for the VOD for you to publish because I want to go back and catch the highlights. And I would tell you this off stream, and I'm just going to remind you now, if you need anything from my POV, I think I started streaming like halfway through. So if you want any footage from me, I'll just slap it on over to you. Are you good to move on?
Yeah, whenever. Yeah.
We're about 45 minutes in. We got about 10 minutes left, yeah?
Flying by.
Alrighty. So I see behind you, you've got like a lot of things indicating to me that you're a very strong Irish background. I see a football helmet that I assume is from Notre Dame.
Yes, sir.
And you've got a Leprechaun Funko Pop. And
signed by Lou Holtz.
I did not know that. So,
Yeah.
can you walk me through your background? You've
Yeah.
got
So
quite the eclectic
one of
taste
my
here.
moderators gave me this. This is a helmet, like a replica helmet, signed by Michael Mayer, a tight end who played at Notre Dame just a couple years ago. He plays for the Raiders now, I think. He was just a beast. And my moderator one day was just like, "Who's your favorite player, like recent?" And I was like, "Michael Mayer's just a good dude, and he's just a baller." So helmet showed up at my house for Christmas. And then next to it, right here, would be it's the Notre Dame Fighting Irishman leprechaun, the mascot.
Did you go to Notre Dame?
Funko Pop. No, I did not. I have family that did. So I grew up watching football.
Okay, I was gonna tell you that if you like mascots, I was the mascot for my D1 university. So
War. What was the
yes,
mascot?
I was I'm a proud Wyoming graduate. There's only one university, and that I'm completely okay doxing myself like that, because realistically, I'm more than happy to tell people I'm the mascot for my university. And if you could put two and two together, there's only 1 4-year. So I loved it. I got to be Pistol Pete. I wore leather chaps, blue jeans. I had a gun belt that I wore. I had cowboy boots. I had a muscle suit on, so I was jacked.
Yeah.
And then I had a gold button down with a leather blade or
hell yeah, man, rock it.
With embroidered on the back Pistol Pete, and then I had the head, and back then, I don't know if it's still the case now, we actually got to carry replica 6-shooters that were with barrels filled, and we had practices. And I told my coach, I was like, we didn't have a mascot coach. We were just a part of the cheerleading team, and I told my cheer coach, I was like, what do you want us to practice? Like, we're not the cheer team, and you're literally only working with the cheer team. What do you want us to do in the meantime? And they're like, I don't know, something. And I was like, what? So then I literally spent my practices spinning guns and practicing spinning guns, to the point where I spun so much that I actually tore the skin off my finger because I was practicing so much during practice. I'm not telling you, I got
really good.
It's easier for me to spin guns with a glove on because it's a better surface to spin, and I could spin sideways, backwards, forwards. I was practicing spinning it into the holster, but the holster we had was really stiff. So it's really hard to spin it into the holster. And it's even harder to spin into the holster when your point of view is literally like this.
Yeah, yeah.
You couldn't see anything. So I fucking loved it. It was so much fun.
That's awesome.
I got to stand in the middle of the football field in front of 20 to more than 20,000 people and spin guns as they chanted the university chant. It was like,
that's awesome.
It's surreal. It's surreal. And it's the best thing ever, because I was the most famous person in Wyoming when I had that suit on. And then I'd go into the locker room and I'd change out of it, and then I'd walk out.
Nobody knew.
Nobody knew who I was. And I'd walk out. I'd walk through the crowd.
Double life.
I would. Yeah, no, I'm not joking. I'd walk through the crowd to the locker room, change, and then walk back through the same crowd to go to my truck to go home. And I would be sweaty, and I would have my cheer uniform on, and I was like, there's no way these people can't put 2 and 2 together. Like, they didn't see me on the field. I'm really sweaty, and I'm leaving with a giant bag. It's not rocket science, but that's
amazing. That's good lore right there.
Absolute funnest time of my life. I got to go to Las Vegas and be the character in Las Vegas, which is, you want to talk fun? That's fun. I got to go downtown Denver to the largest stock show in the world, the largest Western stock show. And I got to walk downtown Denver in that parade in the suit, spinning guns through downtown Denver. Like, it's just one of those things that, man, it was an experience that I will always cherish.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, I grew up watching Notre Dame football. Family went there. My dad went there. And that's college football has always been a thing for me. And so I went to a school that didn't have a football program. It was a smaller place, but so I didn't have anything to interfere. I had brothers that went to big, SEC schools and stuff like that. So I watched some of those, I've been to some of those games, but the Notre Dame thing, I mean, I've been up there a bunch of times, but yeah, I have like a whole section basically dedicated to that. I've got a brick from the stadium when they remodeled it. I've got a seat from when they redid the seats. I've got a poster I won from a TV show they did on like Stars or whatever, Showtime a while back. Like, I've got a bunch of stuff. My dad actually had a piece of the gold dome when they recasted it that fell on the ground. So I have that frame somewhere.
That's awesome. The coolest thing I have on top of that is the fact that when the stadium fills, it is the third largest city in Wyoming.
That's cool.
And because when the stadium fills, it's like 30,000 people. So with the city, it creates like one of the largest cities in Wyoming because there's no other institution. So everyone from the state comes here to watch games because that's just what you do because there's no other 4-year. So it's the only state in the United States that has one 4-year institute, and it's got its bonuses and perks because of that. So I never got to go to Notre Dame. I remember the day we beat Mizzou at home. That was a good day. That's a good day. Being a little Wyoming playing Mizzou in the beginning of the season and beating them was by far one of the best memories I have. But cool. I'm running out of questions. I have all sorts of things I know about. Slay, when you're not creating City Skyline content, when you're not doing squad stuff or anything like that, what are you doing? Are you D&D? Are you a gardener? You read books? You cook?
Never got into D&D. I've done some D&D. I have a hard time letting myself be in the personality that I need to create, so it didn't really stick with me.
Which is interesting. That's interesting to me because I feel like when I play squad, I kind of play a character.
Yeah, but I don't feel like the character that I have to play in squad or even on stream is that far off of myself.
True.
Versus playing like a goblin or something. It's harder for me to relate.
That's fair. That's fair.
And some of it may be that I've always enjoyed, like, I don't do as much fantasy, like cinema, and movies and stuff like that. So maybe part of it's that, just the lack of imagination in that direction. But, I watch a lot of movies, love TV. That's kind of my background. That's my schooling and stuff like that is more like classic cinema stuff. I do a lot of...
You're a cinema guy?
Yeah, to an extent. Probably not as hardcore as I was because content creation,
Have you seen Metropolis?
No.
Oh God, don't watch it.
I had no interest.
In my one of my degrees is in graphic design, and we had a class called sci-fi and fantasy, and we just watched movies, and we started from the beginning of like film. We don't watch it now for a reason, people. It's okay to let it die.
There's
good.
I went to school though for like film production.
Ooh, see, that's where I'm a little jealous because I could tell when you edit, it's some good shit, and I know you've been traditionally trained, at least, or you've taught yourself, or both.
I've had to teach myself a lot of it.
Yes.
Because I went to do a little bit more on like camera, like directorial stuff was more so my focus, but the editing had to come along with it because like you can go shoot something, but who the hell's going to edit it? You know what I mean? I gotta. Yeah. It's either me or I gotta find somebody. So it was a lot of times it's me, but. That's where a lot of my editing stuff came in. And if you look at my editing versus like maybe marketing editing, my editing is typically a slower pace versus when you watch marketing materials, stuff like that, it's a faster pace. And that's sometimes the difference for me is like learning how to cut faster, So I'm always trying to pick up that stuff. But that's my background has been always like movies, TV. I do some photography, not as much as I used to. And then college football, sports generally. I mean, this is kind of off season for me. I don't watch as much baseball as I used to. But I love, obviously, Notre Dame helmet behind me. And every so often, a Lego kit or something like that, just to, give my mind something else to do when the budget allows.
Yeah, so do you freelance in it's the content creation that mainly is?
Yeah. Right now, currently, I was working in marketing, and now I'm just kind of doing content. Well, I am doing content creation as a focus, just to see kind of where it goes over a period of time until I figure out. I think what I would ultimately like to do is be a content creation, but also just strictly freelance and sort of do my own thing. I know that's like everybody's dream, be your own boss, right? But realistically, that would be kind of where I'd want to sit more comfortably. But
hey, I've been streaming for years. It's okay to have fun dreams. My dream is to cast the largest squad event in the world. So
we got to build it, dude. We got to find it.
I'm okay. No, we don't even need to find it. We can build it. We have the resources. We're the partners, bro. We can create it.
You're humble about this. But when I tuned into that girls event, you were so damn excited to be there.
No,
like
you were. See
listen.
Okay.
Hold on, listen to me.
I'm gonna mute myself.
I tune in your broadcast thinking I'm gonna support you, so I got to do a couple things a day. Like I'm gonna pop in, keep tabs on stuff, and I was like hooked. because you were zooming around talking about it. You had the energy for it, man. You need to be doing more of that. I think you got a solid attitude for it, and you're fucking excited to be there.
It is by far my favorite part about being a partner. I know we've had this conversation off podcast about how our different methodologies with content and talking about it. And I kind of had the realization, like, I know that making the patch notes videos are always going to be easy wins. Like, I'm going to get thousands of views on those. Even if I turn out something that I'm not entirely proud of, I'm still finding my own editing style and learning a lot myself, because graphic design school prepared me for traditional marketing. So I was learning packaging and everything. You learn how to do everything, but you don't learn how to do one thing at the highest level, which for me, it's video editing. And that girls event made me realize, sorry, did my camera just take a shit? Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. It's fine. We'll clip that. We'll fix that one in post.
We'll just edit it.
Yeah, we'll just edit it. Speaking of it, we have people who can fix that. Oh wait, the people are me. But what I was saying is, like, that girls event was an unintentional revelation that I absolutely love that, because it gave me a platform to show people that I actually kind of know what I'm talking about. Like, I know, like, not great. I miss things, but I'm pretty fucking good at looking at the map, knowing exactly how the game is going to play out before that it even does. And that girls event was just me doing that at the highest level for me. And I think people really responded to it because I was pretty accurate with it. I knew exactly where the contention points were. Kalinovka and train station. That's a big problem right there when your other point is on across the water and it's hill 354. It's oh god, what's it called? Hillstocks? Some weird ass some weird name. But that point is a fucking nightmare. So whoever controls that can push the power on their backup defense fob, right? Because the other points are right there. So I came alive because it was the first time that I actually got to fill the role of, let's talk squad strategy and let's talk squad thinking, because and that's part of the reason that I've started to do, oh shit, I forgot, yesterday was Sunday. I was supposed to do a lecture yesterday. I've started to do these squad lectures of, like, I just pick a topic and I'll do like a 30-minute lecture on it. I don't care if people tune in. It's just, I enjoy it. I've developed a different relationship with my content, and I think that I'm focusing more on what I like, but not
as you should.
Yeah, because for me, it's like I'm not in a position where content's ever going to be, in my mind, something that's going to replace my job. As much as I'd love to just cast full time, that'd be fucking great. I just don't think it's in the books for me. But I will tell you that
not doing it for like 5 hours.
Yeah, I messaged you because I knew that was gonna happen. You're like, yeah, we're gonna play 8 games tonight, and I'm gonna cast the whole thing by myself. And I'm like, are there any breaks? And I just saw every game just go back to back to back to back. And I'm like, I was like, I thought to myself, I was like, I hope this motherfucker's drinking water or something, because I
had hot tea.
Bro, you were marathoning. You were marathoning. Yeah. I was like, I sent you that little message. I was like, hey, just throwing this out there. If you need it, I will come talk a little bit. But I was like, hey, what did you did it yourself? And fucking all power to you. It was like 5 hours, wasn't it?
It was about 4.5. Yeah. Because a couple of those rounds went a little faster, like Harju and Narva. But there's a few that, especially that last one, Goro, was getting kind of elongated. And that was kind of like the tail end of the night. And you could start hearing my voice kind of trailing off.
So you got back to like this event and creating it. I wanted to actually pick your brain, and I'm going to go back to the event thing. You said that you went to film school for like director shit. I have always really wanted to do narrative-based content with Squad. How come you don't? Because that's like right up your alley, but I don't think I ever see you publish anything. Is it just because you don't think the niche is there and you don't think the time versus effort versus payoff is there?
It's like a bucket list item. Kind of from the content perspective,
like a dream in your dream world.
Part of it is I'm like too picky about stuff. I want like a lot of control, and I don't know how to use SDK. So it's like there's an element of it where like I would have to rely on a lot of other people to probably put certain aspects of it together. I've seen it done. I know that I'm gonna blank on who did it, but there's another creator that made like a video like based in like Fallujah or something like that was all that way.
Yes.
And that kind of stuff is cool. I would I think one day I would love to do something like that because I think there's an opportunity, like if you do learn some of the tools and stuff like that, to make something that is like to spec your vision. You know what I mean? And I think that's a really interesting opportunity. And it's not something that I realized when I started making content. The content that I want to do now is largely to build. You know, there's a lot of educational evergreen stuff mixed in with some other stuff. The Friday Night Fights is going to be like something I'm going to try in terms of how I deliver it and see how it starts to take shape, and then hopefully adapt that into stuff that's like a little bit easier for me to output timely. But then one day down the road, when a lot of the audience is built, I think I can then output stuff that is like, I can spend those sort of hours on learning something and executing at a high level, because I just know when I get in there, if I have that hat on of like, this is my movie, like it's going to be sweaty just in that sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
all
tough.
I have to say is, please, for the love of God, involve me in that project, because I like getting what I was talking about. Like how I view my partnership is like, I'm just here to have fun and be a part of cool shit. Like that's all. Like me being a partner, I get to see all of the cool shit they're working on, but I also gives me the ability to open doors that I would never be able to open myself.
Yeah.
The only reason I did that Here Come the Girls event is because of being a partner. I would have never done that. I would have never. I've casted one other event other than that one, and it was a community event that was a player versus a player at a like big scale, and they're recreating that, which I offered you to be a part of, because I'm 2 days out from getting my wisdom teeth out. That
I know.
I get my wisdom teeth out on the 17th, and the event's the 19th, and I'm like, guys, could you at least warn me before I scheduled my wisdom teeth removal? I would have pushed it a week back, but I can't do that now. I'm like, I guess I'm showing up, gauze in my mouth, pain. I will fight through
Winging it. Yep.
Because honestly, I just love it so much that come rain, shine, blood, whatever happens, I'm going to try to pull that event off, because I just do it out of passion. I do it out of passion because I love it. And I was actually working on talking about passion projects and budget or bucket list items. I was working on a squad TV show set in Al Basra and using the SDK to do the movie, or not the movie, but the TV show. And I wrote the first pilot episode. It's like a 25-minute episode. And I started to go in and film it. And then we got the announcement that they were redoing Al Basra. And I thought to myself, fuck. I guess I either have to do this now and then figure out how I explain it later, or just wait. And honestly, I elected to wait because it's moving to Unreal Engine 5. And Unreal Engine 5 has much, much better cinematic tools. So I'm waiting for it to go there. And on top of it, just for my own little sprinkling of sugar to you, I am trying to learn how to do motion capture because I want to fucking act so bad. So bad.
Hell yeah, man.
I want to do a squad. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed it, or not noticed, but I don't know if you watched my my video, the Fallujah Rat game. Like, I wouldn't expect you to watch the whole thing, but you watched a little bit of it.
Yes.
That narrative style, I want to filter in with motion capture edits of me coming in as like a character and acting and telling a scene and explaining it as if I'm like freeze frame, come out and explain and teach people. I'm trying to mix somehow a cinematic breakdown of a game with education. So I'm trying to teach people while they're not realizing it, because it's so beautiful and it looks great. The biggest problem I have is I don't have that director vision. I just kind of like see it and I try to build it as I go. And I don't have like that like traditional training on how to produce that. And I don't understand how. And it took me like 3 to 4 weeks to get that video done, when it should have taken me much less, a lot less time, because I had to learn so much. And it did not turn out the way I dreamed of it turning out, but I had to push on. And I have more of those videos I want to do. So I'd love to pick your brain about that.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Of course.
Because that's like my dream, is to just work on like narrative based content, because it's I love telling stories, and when I can overlap all of my passions into one thing, that's what I see is like, other than casting, you can't cast in a narrative based content, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. So other than that, like, you do like Skylines stuff.
I've been taking a little break from City Skylines.
I noticed that you hadn't published a video in a couple months.
Yeah, I did. I've done one recently, but I kind of took a break. The newer release is has needed some work and updates, and those are slowly rolling out. So it's getting closer to what I expect out of the game. So it'll be a little bit more time, and I think ideally, I'd have my City Skylines like very vibey, chill channel, and then I could have the Squad Chaos channel operating, and that would be like, 1 week I'd be focused a little more on this, and 1 week I'd be focused on that, or something, some sort of balance that may exist. I don't know. I've always played City Skylines, like I told you, like I was playing Battlefield 1942 and SimCity. Those are my two primary games. But yeah, here we are, the City Skylines and Squad now.
You've actually unintentionally inspired me to think about making a secondary channel called Urso in the Garden. And it's
dude. I mean,
it's just me in my backyard gardening and talking about like if you want, like, not that you would want to talk about gardening. I know way too much, and I spend way too long learning about gardening. So I've actually wanted to work into that as a different form of content, just and viewing my content more in the realm of being fun. I need to push my main channel to get 1,000 subscribers, and after that, I think I'm just gonna go completely what I want, passion project, because I just gotta hit that fucking that barrier of monetization, because it sucks when I get a video with 22,000 views and I don't get paid a dime. Everything I've done on YouTube has been passion. They ain't pay me shit.
Yeah.
So,
man, that is a tough road.
Yes.
I mean, to give you my perspective, I spent about 6 months making like TikTok clips, right? And what I framed it as is like, this 6 months that I'm going to spend just pulling clips and trying to establish, like, is there an audience here for this content, was to pay off about 6 months to a year later. So now I'm in that year and a half later phase, right? Where I've established enough of, like, in my opinion, an early viewership and some stability and understanding like who I am and what I want to do, that now that stuff can pay out. But if you start, like, you got spring coming up, dude. You start doing some of the gardening, man. Start building that content, and then rolling it out and enjoy it, dude.
I was actually I was showering because I was in the garden before that, cutting down. I was cutting down one of the trees, or not trees, it's a bush, and I was cutting it down because it is overgrown, and it's getting to the point where it's so overgrown that it's old and dying, and there's no new healthy growth coming back to replace it. So that plant, either I have to cut all the way back and let it bounce back with new growth, or just let it die. So I was out there with my hatchet just fucking going to town. And then I looked down at my phone, and it was 12:40 my time, and we were supposed to meet at 1. And I was like, fuck, I got to go shower and eat. And that's why we got a sandwich in the shower, baby.
Hell yeah.
I had to do it. I wanted to make sure I got here in time, but I also want to respect your time. We're over an hour. We're at an hour and 7 minutes. I don't want to keep you too long. Thank you, Slay3k. That is it for our episode, Slay. I'm gonna let you close it out. So
I appreciate you having me, dude.
Plug all your shit.
It's super cool to chat, and I appreciate your support with Friday Night Fights and some of the stuff we've talked about. And I think this is a cool thing. I think you should keep doing this. I think more of the partners, should be doing stuff like this, because I think it's a cool opportunity to talk to someone in the same sphere, making the same stuff, playing the same game, and then expanding beyond that. And I like how you tailored a little bit to the personality as well. So shout out to you for having me on, and I appreciate it. And otherwise, you can find me on Twitch at Slay3k. You can find me on YouTube at Slay3Kilo or Slay3k, depending on your interest in video games. If it's Squad, it's the Kilo one. But yeah, man, we stream about 3 times a week. Sometimes a little bonus here and there. I do a lot of collab stuff, a bit of variety streamer, not so much focused on Squad all the time, but we just try to have fun, have a good time, build a community. So again, thank you for having me, dude.
Yeah. I'm not sure who our next guest will be, but we'll just have to. Honestly, I don't even want to know who the next guest will be, because I'm going to plan that when I get there. I might look at another partner. I might look to a community member of Squad. I might look to a server owner. I'm not sure. We're just going to have to see where we go. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to plug all your links in the description. Make sure that I get people to you, give you due diligence that you deserve. So thank you so much for being here.